Hey, sehr und konnichiwa, hier ist wieder euer Keanu, zurück mit Let's Play Corpse Party Blood Drive und wir sind beim letzten Mal am Ende von Kapitel 2 angekommen und kümmern uns jetzt um den Start von Kapitel 3. Pain. Aside from Satoshi and my other friends who shared the experience with me, there wasn't a soul in this world who believed that Seiko, Susumoto, Morishige or Mitsui ever existed. And this fact was really taking its toll on me, particularly in regards of Seiko. Oh, das hat aber jetzt lang gedauert. Einen Moment bitte, mein PC nervt mich gerade ein bisschen. Ach komm, egal. I flashed the brightest smile I could muster, though I'm still not sure he entirely bought it. That night, all I could manage to do was stand perfectly still and stare at my desk. I was mumbling something, but I don't even know what. My eyes had glazed over. It was like I was in a trance, or maybe I just wanted to be. Ja, sie sagt was. Oh, boah, wie crazy, ey. Sie sabbert sogar. Und nicht einmal weise, nein. I didn't even realize I'd actually started writing. I was at my desk now, writing words into a notebook. I kept softly repeating her name to myself over and over again. The words started to sound foreign in my head, but I couldn't stop saying it, almost like I'd forget her if I did. There was no other sound in this room, just the scratching of pencil on paper, and the hushed sound of my voice, just the word Seiko in all of its forms. My voice was getting firmer each time I said it, more demanding, and my writing was growing more feverish, more intense. Finally, the pencil broke in half under the strain. I gripped it so hard that it stabbed into my palm. Blood began to drip onto the paper. My head was hanging in limply, but the rest of my body had stiffened. If anyone had seen me, I bet I would have been quite a sight. I couldn't feel blood rushing to my head. My whole body quivered. I raised my head from the vigil and realized tears were streaming down my face. My voice was strained, choking back and sentences it hoped I'd never say. There were countless pictures of Seiko drawn in my notebook, but in every one of them her face was blank. I heard the notebook from my desk. I slammed my hands on the desk with all my might and screamed as loud as my present constitution would allow. I opened up the photo album on my phone. There was this nagging sensation in the back of my head that I've overlooked something. I was absolutely bawling at this point. My face was a mess. But I had indeed overlooked something. On the bottom right of the screen, there was an icon for an image modification. After a few menu selections, I found myself adjusting the picture brightness. Beep, beep. I kept hitting the button to turn it up, higher and higher. And slowly, in the very center of the black void that had replaced Seiko's face, I could see something begin to form. Was ist das? Sieht aus wie ein Zeichen, aber ich kann es nicht erkennen. I felt like I was on the verge of an incredible discovery, filled with a new hope I hadn't felt since just before the incident at the Shinozaki estate. There was still room to increase the brightness. There were still countless increments to go before I'd reach the phone's upper limit. I just kept pressing the button over and over, until finally, in the very center of the would-be face, I could make on it an extreme faint pattern that looked like freehand lettering spelling the name Sachi in hiragana. Was it right? Was I certain that what is said? Instinctively I placed the phone screen closer to my eye. The limited resolution made this pointless, but I didn't care. It was so close. I was beginning to lose focus, but it still wasn't close enough. I had to make sure that what I had said. I touched it to my forehead, as near my eyes as it could. Was war das für ein roter Blitz? At which point the letters latched onto my cornea. The literally attached themselves to my eyes. They were there. No matter where I looked, I saw them. My vision had gone half wide, obscured by the phantom letters. It took only a moment before the pain set in, and it was not an insignificant amount. I collapsed to the ground, and ineffectively covering my eye. It was absolutely excruciating. That's around when my mom burst through the door. She looked like she was at the end of her rope, like she didn't believe anything was wrong, and I was probably just faking it. She was definitely more annoyed than concerned. With nothing more than a grunt, she grabbed me from behind, pinning my arms so I couldn't hurt myself. I fell backward onto my rear, unable to resist her restraint. My left eye was glazed over with tears and had gone as bloodshot as an eye can get. Das Bild habe ich mal als Screenshot bei Google gesehen und so, wow, Deutsch, perfekt. And right on the cornea, white blisters like bugs were beginning to form, spelling out Sachi. There was no way my mom could ignore or dismiss that. She quickly stepped back in shock, finally acknowledgement. Her breathing had quickened, but she didn't say a thing. She just left the room. It was too late. She was gone, halfway across the house by the time I called out. Gute Mutter. Sehr gute Mutter. I was sprawled out in the corner of my room like a giant stuffed bear. At some point, I think I lost consciousness, but I'm still not really sure. I was starting to feel a little less tense, a little more relaxed. I looked up. At the prospect of actually discerning details in my room, my left eye reacted with a sharp, intense shot of pain. My vision was still half white. I could feel the pain with every pulse in every part of my body. It was almost unbearable. And yet... She'd run out of the room in shock and obviously had been gone for quite some time. As sick as she was of me, I couldn't imagine she'd leave me to suffer without doing anything. Das wäre auch ein bisschen heftig. I opened my bedroom door and slowly crept downstairs. I could hear a sound coming from the kitchen. A very specific, very peculiar sound repeating at regular intervals. I did my best to sneak over to the doorway and peek in undetected. And what I saw was my mom sharpening a kid. Alter, will die Mutter jetzt Naomi umbringen oder was? With intense focus. I had no idea what she planned to do with it, but an irrational fear rushed over me. I slowly and silently sneaked my way over to the front entrance. And I made sure not a peep could be heard from me until I was outside and away from the house. Ich würde aber auch abhauen. Schon ein bisschen. Was geht mit der Mutter? Mann, es war gerade so spannend! It was a new morning, bright and early. Satoshi called out to me like I was 12 or something. I've been in this old, cheap, rundown, two-story apartment building for a long time now. It may not have been much to look at, but I felt it had a certain charm. Satoshi was cradling his school bag in his arms as he waited for me in front of my room on the ground floor. On my morning he wasn't waylaid by Yuka. He would always drop by and invite me to walk to school with him. Originally he was doing it for my own good, as I'd been known to ditch school a lot and he figured a friendly offer like his might get my attendance up a little. Admittedly, it worked. I finally made my entrance, or my exit, I suppose. And I'm pretty sure Satoshi must have been really confused, as I had my shoulders one hell of a backpack, boasting a full-on survival kit, provisions, the works. Yep, Satoshi was confused. Alright. I slowly, carefully lowered the giant backpack to the ground. Ist irgendwo eine epische Art und Weise, die Schule zu schwänzen. Einfach mal so Bergsteigen gehen. Ach ja, jetzt war... ja, er geht auch Bergsteigen. Hallo, wir spielen Corpse-Party. Wieso soll er da Bergsteigen gehen? I guess I wasn't all that convincing, but even still I didn't expect Satoshi to see through me so quickly and easily. I stumbled under his glare. It was almost like I'd just been called out by a newborn baby, or like fawn. Dude was way too innocent for his own good. Ayumi's face appeared in the back of my mind. Damn, he was on today. God damn it, I'm terrible at this. I covered my mouth, but it was too late. I had already confirmed it. I did have a lot of talismans with me. I bought them at the convenience store and didn't exactly pack smartly enough to hide them. I certainly wasn't going to win any awards for stealth.
だけど、あそこは崩壊したんじゃ。まさかまだ。いや、俺らが脱出するとき見た通りだ。あのまま潰れてるだろうよ。
Satoshi stared deeply into my eyes, as if evaluating my answer for any possible deception. This time it seemed like I'd succeed in fooling him.
だよな。まあどのみち、もう幸子もいないあの空間にはおまじないも効かないし。ああ、俺は今からちょっと天神症のことで調べもんだ。そうか。だったらいいんだけどさ。でも何か行動を起こすなら一人でするなよ。ナオミにも話す。こういうのは何も言われない方が辛いんだ。
I thought I was in the clear, but Satoshi suddenly got a puzzled look on his face. He reached over to my backpack and pulled out one of the talismans I'd lazily stuck in the front post.
こんなもん聞くのか?
He was looking it over like an appraiser or something. Why wouldn't he just leave me alone?
知らねえよ。イワシの頭よりはマシだろ。
I yanked the talisman back out of Satoshi's hand and crammed it into the front pocket of my school blazer.
たまに昔の人みたいなこと言うよな。せえな。でもな、今日はまず学校に連れてくぞ。
With this, Satoshi grabbed my sleeve.
あ？なんでだよ。だってお前、出席日数足りてないだろ。クオン先生が授業前に朝一で歩行って言ってたんだ。知らねえよ。ダブローが何しようが、それどころじゃねえ。そんなにお前が優先するってことは。は
？Was this guy psychic? He hadn't been wrong all morning.
まあいいや。学校行って聞いてやる。行くぞ。リュックはとりあえず家の中に入れて。
It seemed Satoshi wasn't going to take no for an answer.
おい、サトシ待てて、わかった。いや、いいんだろ、わけをってだから、手離せって。
Satoshi kun, Kishiruma kun, ohayo.
Habt ihr gemerkt, wie das Bild vom Anfang noch da war? Sehr gut gemacht. Ich habe mich jetzt schon gewundert, warum ist jetzt Ayumi da? Na?
おはようございます。
たった15分の小テストで単位をつけてあげるんだから頑張ってよね、岸。
様式には説明してあります。大事な用あんのに来てやったんだ。終わったら速攻帰るからな。
偉いわ。じゃあ教室行きましょう。
ここでいい。テスト持ってきてくれ。様式、無茶言うなよ。マジでそれどころじゃねえんだよ。俺は行かなきゃならねえとこがあんだ。
I stuck my hand into my pocket and took out a mechanical pencil. If they were going to force me to do this, I need to shave off every second I could. As I removed the pencil, the talisman I'd shoved in there earlier fell to the ground.
あのレーグマニアを探し出さねと。篠崎が。レーグマニアって、もしかして丹羽愛子さんのことか。ああ、そう。篠崎に何かあったのか。まさか本当に天神症。ああ。お前、なんでもっと早く言わないんだよ。お前が聞く耳持たなかったんだろうが。ずるずる引っ張りやがって。
愛ちゃんがどうしたの？
いや、なんでも。愛ちゃん？あれ、そういえば先生って 庭。
今名前の出た丹羽愛子は私の妹よ。愛ちゃん。
先生、その愛子に会いたいんだけどよ。
この時間ならやっぱり学校かしらね。昨日の夜様子がおかしかったんだけど。
Aus einem gewissen Blickpunkt hat sie ja recht. Sie ist in der Schule.
先生、一緒に住んでるの？
ええ。
俺と篠崎が会った後か。様子がおかしかったってどうおかしかったんだよ。
私あなたのこと喋ったかも。やだわ。
ああ、他にはねえの？
そうね、思い出してきたわ。何か小さな青い石を2個。
それだ。あいつもう一組持ってやがったんだな。だがこれはチャンスだぜ。先生、愛子は今日も確かに
愛ちゃんなら昨日の夜深刻な顔をしてお家を出て行って朝ごはんを作って待っていたんだけれど、全部私が食べちゃった。
よしき、先にあの石を一人で使われちまったら篠崎を追う手段がなくなっちまうじゃん。よしき、待てよ。先生、ありがとう。よしきは後でまた連れてくるからさ。
うん。
As Satoshi turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of Nakashima standing on the school roof, on the wrong side of the guardrail, looking tired and worn. There was no spark in her eyes, no awareness. It looked almost as if she were sleepwalking.
Naomi!
大変!
I tried to pick myself up and look around, but I could only move my neck. Everything was dark, and the only sign of my surrounding was an unpleasant, vaguely organic noise filling my ears. I felt in some way restrained. As my eyes adjusted to the dim light of the room, I could see that I was blanked by red flash. It was as if the floor had come to life and was absorbing me into its collective. I focused my strength and was finally able to break free from the bindings, bits of red matter flying away from my body as I tore through it to the freedom. I was absolutely soaked, however, with a strange viscous fluid, and chunks of meat were clinging fast to my skin and clothes. The blank of flesh and the ground was now bubbling out a murky red liquid from all the spots I had torn in my escape, as violently as if a fist had been turned to full. I was in tears, trying as hard as I could to wipe this viscera from my body. As I watched, however, a chunk I had been trying to shake free from the back of my hand just dissolved away. Aside from the murmurs of the flesh blanked, the room was deathly silent, and lit only by a faint blue glow streaming in from the nearby window. Oh, nein! Nicht du! An entity resembling Mayu was charging at me from the depths of darkness. Nein! Not again. It was all in my head. A flashback. She wasn't after me now. But she definitely had been. The tears were pouring out of my eyes. By this point, I could do nothing to hold them back. I crouched on the floor to gather my thoughts and noticed that my cell phone was lying on the ground beside me. And that wasn't all. A circular design was carved into the floor, perfectly round, as if traced by compass. The flashy goo I'd been trapped in more or less centered inside. Actually, come to think of it, I checked myself over for injuries. There were none, or at least none caused by an axe. Guess I must skinned my knee when I tripped. If memory serves, and if the floor plan hasn't changed too much, the infirmary should be right here. Maybe I can catch my breath there for a moment. Fletch! The hard wooden clops of my footsteps gave way to a softer, squishier series of plops. Taken aback by the sudden change, I looked down, terrified at what I might be walking in. As I feared, whatever it was looked awfully biological. Huge swaths of the floor were coated in what looked like internal organs, moving and swaying and pulsing in sick rhythm. I raised my foot and found a seaweed-like substance that closely resembled a network of blood vessels stuck to the bottom of my shoe. Und das ist... Ach, ekelig, ey. Ups. Ups! Alter! Also da sind gerade ein paar Sachen passiert. Poof poof. Calm down, Ayumi. Just focus on what you have to do. There's a good chance that this girl has a book of shadows. And she looks a lot like Yuki. If I talk to her and tell her what's happening, I'm sure she'll give me the book. Oops. Just before I passed out, I thought I saw her, but she had very different aura from than before. I should leave a candle here. Maybe Miss Tu will see it. Hopefully Miss Tu will see it. I'm out of matches. I wonder if there are any nearby. Ich würde erstmal sagen, speichern und beenden den Part an der Stelle. Das war euer Keanu mit Let's Play Corpse Party. Blood Drive, bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao.